Dark, cinematic illustrations of the Middle Ages, the Inquisition, Galileo on trial, books burning. Dramatic, brooding background music. Looking back from the comfort of the 21st century, the Middle Ages seem incredibly cruel. It was an era of dogmatic authority, where questioning the established narrative could literally get you burned at the stake. As modern people, we like to flatter ourselves. We assume that if we were there, we would boldly stand on the side of truth. We think we'd be standing right next to Copernicus, fighting the cruelty of the establishment. But let's try a thought experiment. What if we took today's most prestigious modern scientists and dropped them right into the Middle Ages? Would they spark a revolution? According to recent analyses of modern academia, the answer is a resounding no. Based on their current survival philosophy, modern scientists wouldn't advance human knowledge one bit. In fact, they would stand firmly on the side of the evil establishment. Playing it safe, the death of science. You probably think I'm exaggerating. But the evidence suggests that modern science is suffering from a terminal illness, a culture of extreme compliance, cowardice, and risk aversion. In a series of fascinating recent papers and articles, researcher Yue Liu explores exactly this. In works like The Persistence of Intellectual Resistance and Playing It Safe, Killing Science, Liu argues that academic freedom is collapsing not because of external dictators, but because scientists themselves are too afraid to rock the boat. Let's look at the evidence. The New York Times headline, Harvard calls for retraction of dozens of studies by noted cardiologist. Exhibit A, the bystander effect. In 2018, Harvard University had to call for the retraction of dozens of studies by a highly noted cardiologist due to manipulated data. This wasn't a sudden mistake, this was a questionable line of research that had gone on for years. How did a massive scientific fraud persist for so long at the highest levels of academia? The New York Times investigated, and their conclusion was chilling. Some scientists wondered how a questionable line of research persisted for so long. Experts were just too timid to take a stand. If modern experts are too timid to challenge a fellow cardiologist out of fear of losing grant money or social standing, do you really think they'd stand up to the medieval Inquisition? A toast to the error detectors. Exhibit B, punishing the truth-tellers. Maybe you're thinking, well, the young scientists will save us. Think again. In a 2020 article in the journal Nature, psychologist Simine Vazire shared a disturbing story. She received a private message from a postdoctoral researcher who had just published a highly accurate, measured critique pointing out errors in a famous researcher's paper. It was a massive service to the scientific field. The reward for finding the truth? His academic advisor pulled him aside and told him he had crossed a line and that he should never do it again. Think about that. In a system built entirely on the pursuit of truth, pointing out the truth is treated as a career-ending offense. As Yue Liu puts it, this is the terminal illness of academia. Playing it safe guarantees the death of science. The UC Riverside Data Science Presentation. Which brings us to Exhibit C, the head in the sand phenomenon. In 2022, at a data science conference at UC Riverside, a speaker made a shocking presentation about time series anomaly detection, or TSAD. He proved, using simple, visual examples, that at least 95% of the papers published in this field were deeply flawed and unreliable. 95%. But the most terrifying part wasn't the flawed data. It was the scientific community's reaction. The speaker asked, what does it say that when these issues are pointed out, most of the community offers no counterarguments, but just ignores the problem? He called it the head in the sand response. Split screen. On the left, a medieval scholar bowing to a king. On the right, a modern scientist bowing to a peer review committee. And that brings us back to our thought experiment. The brutal truth is, it takes courage to seek the truth. Copernicus didn't just have a high IQ, he had incredible bravery. Today's academic system is designed to filter out bravery. It promotes people who comply, who don't question the established giants, and who look the other way when 95% of a field's research is garbage. If you took today's scientists and put them in the Middle Ages, they wouldn't be Galileo. They would be the bureaucrats handing Galileo the poison, telling him, "Sorry, buddy, but you crossed a line, and I need to secure my tenure." Science isn't just a method, it's an act of intellectual resistance. If we don't cure this terminal illness of playing it safe, we might just enter a new dark age, one where the math is highly complex, but the truth is entirely absent. What do you think? Is modern academia broken by compliance? Let me know in the comments below. All the links to Yue Liu's fascinating papers and the articles mentioned today are in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an episode. Stay curious, and don't play it too safe.